Hi all. Well, today I'm going to teach you how to make beef stock from real bones. Now, if you're fortunate enough to have a local butcher or a local market that you can go to, they normally make their own beef stock. And I asked my local butcher, could I get some beef shanks? And he says, well, do you want marrow bones or beef shanks? I said beef shanks. And the reason why that is beef shanks are better. There is more meat on a beef shank than a marrow bone. There is a beef shank. And I've got 3 of them in this bag. Now, you could use beef stock that you buy in the store. And I actually did another video on my channel of how to doctor up if you're going to use a canned stock. But I'm going to show you how to make a real beef stock. So all you need, the first thing you do is preheat your oven to 375 degrees on bake. 1 cookie sheet. We're going to place the beef shanks on the cookie sheet. Now, I'm just going to make a small batch today. So I only have 3 shanks. Probably, I'll get at least a quart of stock out of this. But, you could do double amount, triple the amount, quadruple in a big pan, and it all freezes at the end. So, let's get started. Going into the oven. Did I say we're going to bake them for 45 minutes? 375 degrees, 45 minutes. Okay, while the beef shanks are roasting in the oven, we're going to cut up 1 piece of celery, 2 carrots, and an onion. Okay, as you can see, I didn't go to much fuss to cut this up. I just chunked it up. It's a small amount because we're making a small batch, so I only did 2 carrots, 1 celery, and 1 onion. And you don't even have to peel it or anything like that, because what we want to do is we're going to add some additional nutrition and flavor to the stock by adding this in it. Okay, so I filled a small pot about halfway up to here with water. I'm going to toss in the carrots, celery, and onion that I just chopped up. And we wait for the shanks to come out of the oven. Oh, one thing I would like to mention, when I was at the butcher's getting the beef shanks, they come larger, about that big, and he cut them up for me into probably like about that big, 3-inch pieces, 4-inch pieces. A lot easier to handle. You don't have to use as large of a pan and things like that. And one other thing that he did for me, on the beef shank, after he cut them, there's quite a lot of fat on there. He trimmed the fat off. However, that fat can be used for making beef tallow, which is a whole nother process to be used for cooking instead of, say, an olive oil or things like that. That'll be a whole nother video, but I did want to mention to have him trim the fat off of the shanks before he gives them to you. Okay, the beef shanks are ready to come out of the oven. I got my pot holders. Ooh, hot. Whoa. Look at that. All nice and golden brown. We're just going to put them on top of the stove for a second. And what I did in the meantime was the pot that I had the water in, that I put the carrot, celery, and onion. I brought that to a boil to get it going. And I'm going to place the beef shanks in the boiling water. Oh. You know what? First, let me show you a close-up. That's a nicely cooked beef shank. Okay. Here's the boiling water with the carrots, celery, and onions in it. Can you see that? Now, we're going to place the beef shanks in the boiling water. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now, what you could do, I'm going to cover this back up and bring it to a second boil. What you could do at this point is you could bring it to a boil, crack the pot just a little bit, and let it simmer for about 5 hours. However, not a lot of us have that much time to babysit a stove, and I really don't like to leave things on the stove, so I'm going to show you a better trick. Okay, now that I brought this to a boil, what we're going to do, instead of babysitting this on the stove, is we are going to transfer everything in here. Oh, my tongues. Everything in here into a crock pot. Okay, so the beef stock has cooled, and now we're going to take the thin layer of fat off the top of it. Now, one thing I'm really impressed with this is there's a very, very thin layer of fat, which means most of this stock is not fatty at all. So I'm just going to use this, and I'm going to skim the top. Wow, that's pretty good. Very, very, very healthy. Now, as you can see, that's all the fat there was. And the broth is filled up to about halfway, almost halfway on this crock pot. Okay, now we're going to do a taste test. I'm going to take a little bit of the canned beef broth from the grocery store. Put a little bit in a glass. I'm going to take a ladle full of our homemade stock and put it in a glass. Okay, I'm going to label the grocery store with a sticker that says canned from the grocery store. I'm just going to heat it up in the microwave for a minute. Okay, I warmed it up a little bit. Now you can see right here, the lighter one is the homemade stock, and the darker one is the one from the can, from the grocery store. Now, the canned one looks a little darker, but you know why? They put dye in it. I could have made the homemade stock a little darker by adding tomato paste when I roasted the bones, but that's not a definite necessary step. But now let's taste it. So first I'm going to taste the canned from the grocery store. Kind of salty. All right, let me rinse my palate. Now I'm going to taste our homemade stock. Wow, totally different taste. It's not salty. It almost tastes like you can taste the different ingredients in it. Yeah. You know, it takes a lot of time, and I just made a small batch, but it's definitely better than canned. So for this small batch of beef stock that I did, I ended up with, each one of these is 3 cups. So I have 2 cups of 3 containers, and I'm just going to pop them into the freezer, and they'll last for months. You know, 5-6 months, they'll be fine. You could also put this in a gallon Ziploc bag if you want better protection in your freezer, but that's optional. So if you enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up, like button, subscribe to my channel. You know, that doesn't cost any money. Somebody thought it did. It doesn't. Not on my channel anyway. And enjoy.